The Galactic Empire had never feared anyone. Their war fleets had crushed rebellions, erased alien kingdoms, and burned entire star systems into silence. When they sent the 7th Imperial Armada to the Outer Rim, it was supposed to be a simple mission. One rebel colony, one warning strike, total victory. Hundreds of warships moved together through space. Massive battleships, heavy cruisers, endless rows of destroyers. Their engines lit the dark like a moving sun. On the command ship Iron Glory, Grand Admiral Varos stood calm and confident. "There is no force in this sector that can challenge us," he said. Long-range scanners showed nothing. No defense platforms. No enemy fleet. Just empty space and a quiet star. Then one destroyer disappeared. Not exploded. Not damaged. It was simply gone. Officers stared at their screens. They thought it was a sensor error. But seconds later, another cruiser vanished. Then 2 more ships. Panic slowly spread across the bridge. Check the coordinates. Scan for cloak vessels. Power up shields. The scanner showed only silence. No heat signature. No debris. No energy wave. Just ships blinking out of existence. A strange signal flashed across all screens for less than a second. It was not Imperial code. Not alien language. It looked like pure mathematics. Then the signal vanished. Within 3 minutes, the proud 7th Armada was gone. Hundreds of ships, thousands of soldiers, erased. In deep space, nothing remained but cold stars and quiet darkness. Far away, hidden beyond known maps, something ancient and human watched the battlefield. And for the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire felt fear. News of the vanished fleet spread across the Imperial core like a shockwave. At first, the Empire refused to believe it. A fleet that size could not simply disappear. There had to be survivors. Wreckage. Escape pods. But there was nothing. No debris field. No distress calls. No engine trails. Only empty space. Inside the Grand War Chamber, the highest-ranking admirals stood in silence. A full investigation began immediately. Every sensor log from the 7th Armada was reviewed frame by frame. That was when they found it. The signal. It had appeared for less than 1 second before the fleet vanished. Most officers had missed it in the panic, but the Empire's advanced AI recovered the data. The pattern was strange. Not a language. Not a threat. Not a weapon signature. It was mathematics. Prime numbers. Perfect sequences. Clean and precise. "This is not random," one scientist whispered. "This is controlled." The Emperor demanded answers. Was it a rebel weapon? No. An unknown alien race? No known species uses this technology. Silence filled the chamber again. Then an intelligence officer spoke carefully. "There is one species known for mathematical warfare models and silent expansion." The room turned cold. "Humans." The word sounded almost ridiculous. Humans were isolated, quiet, considered minor players in galactic politics. Weak, but the data did not lie. The signal carried human-style coding structure. At the edge of Imperial space, another long-range scout ship reported something strange. A faint gravitational distortion, as if space itself had been folded and smoothed back into place. The Empire had ruled through fear for centuries, but now they were staring at something far more terrifying. An enemy that did not attack, an enemy that erased. The Empire did not panic in public, but behind closed doors, fear had already begun to grow. A second fleet was prepared, smaller, faster, more advanced. This time, they would not attack. They would observe. They would scan every inch of space where the 7th Armada vanished. The new fleet entered the same coordinates carefully. Weapons ready. Shields at maximum power. Nothing happened. Space looked normal. Calm. Silent. Then a marker appeared on their navigation system. A thin red line stretched across the star map. It had not been there before. "Unknown object detected," an officer said, but there was no object, no station, no satellite, just a line. A transmission followed. Clear. Calm, in perfect Imperial language. "You have crossed a protected boundary." The bridge fell silent. "Identify yourself," the Admiral demanded. There was no answer. Instead, space ahead shimmered slightly, like heat above fire. The lead cruiser moved 1 meter forward. Instantly, its engines shut down. Not destroyed. Disabled. Every system went dark except life support. More ships drifted as invisible pressure gripped them. Weapons failed. Shields collapsed. Communication froze. No explosions. No chaos. Just total control. Then the same mathematical signal appeared again, longer this time. At the end of the sequence, one final message appeared. First warning delivered. Do not advance further. The Admiral's voice trembled for the first time in his career. This is human technology. Far beyond visible space, hidden within a massive dark structure wrapped around an artificial star. Human commanders observed the Imperial fleet calmly. They did not celebrate. They did not threaten. They simply watched. The Empire had ruled through power, but humanity ruled through preparation. And the line in space was not a border. It was a test. The warning was clear, but the Galactic Empire had never accepted warnings. In the Imperial core, pride burned hotter than fear. The Emperor gave a direct order. Mobilize the Grand Armada. This was not a patrol fleet, not a scout force. This was the full strength of Imperial power. Thousands of warships gathered, dreadnoughts the size of cities, carriers loaded with fighter wings, planet killer cannons charged for battle. The message from the unknown force was studied again and again. First warning delivered. The Empire chose to ignore it. The Grand Armada entered the Outer Rim in perfect formation. Space shook with the power of their engines. Their commanders expected resistance. But once again, space was silent. Then the red boundary line appeared, brighter this time. The lead dreadnought crossed it without hesitation. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then the stars themselves seemed to bend. Not explode, not flash, bend. Gravity shifted like invisible hands pressing down from every direction. Entire battleships slowed, as if trapped in thick liquid. Engines roared, but the ships barely moved. Full power, Admiral shouted. It did not matter. Weapon systems failed first. Target locks vanished. Shields flickered and died. Then something impossible happened. The massive Imperial fleet froze in place. Not destroyed. Suspended. Every ship hung in space, unable to move forward or retreat. A calm voice broadcast across every channel. We do not seek war. The transmission was human, clear, steady, controlled. You advance beyond protected boundary. Your first fleet was removed. This fleet is restrained. On the Imperial flagship, silence filled the bridge. The Empire had faced enemies before, but never one that could stop them without firing a single shot. For the first time in history, the Empire realized it was no longer the strongest power in the galaxy. The frozen Imperial fleet drifted helplessly in silence. Thousands of ships, millions of soldiers, all trapped by an invisible force they could not fight. Inside the flagship Eternal Crown, the Emperor himself watched through a live transmission. His face showed anger, but behind it was something new. Uncertainty. The human signal returned. This time, it did not carry numbers. It carried a message. We did not erase your first fleet out of anger, the calm voice said. They crossed a boundary marked clearly in your long-range scans. Imperial officers checked their data again. Hidden inside old star charts was a faint anomaly, a region labeled unstable space. They had ignored it. We warned you once, the voice continued. You chose escalation. The frozen fleet trembled slightly as gravity pressure increased for a moment. Not enough to destroy, just enough to demonstrate control. We can erase this armada, the human voice said calmly. But we will not. The Emperor leaned forward. What do you want? He demanded. There was a short pause. Peace through distance. Respect the boundary. Withdraw your forces. Do not expand toward human-protected systems. The chamber fell silent. The Empire had conquered hundreds of species. They had never been given terms. Never. Yet here they were. Alive only because the humans allowed it. We have watched your expansion for centuries. The message continued. We chose not to interfere. Until now. Then the final line came. Do not mistake restraint for weakness. Moments later, gravity pressure released. Engines flickered back to life. Weapon systems reactivated. The Grand Armada was free. But no one cheered, because every commander understood the truth. They had survived not by strength, but by human mercy. The Grand Armada withdrew slowly, not in defeat, but in silence. Across the galaxy, rumors spread. The Empire had met resistance, not from a new alien empire, not from ancient machines, from humans. In the Imperial Court, no official statement was released. The fleet commanders were ordered to remain silent. Records of the erased Seventh Armada were sealed. But fear does not stay hidden. Independent traders reported strange gravitational fields near outer systems. Scouts detected faint mathematical signals, marking invisible borders across space. The red line was not in one place. It was everywhere, far beyond Imperial maps, inside a structure wrapped around a controlled artificial star. Human leaders observed calmly. The platform was massive, larger than a moon. Layers of defense systems surrounded it. Gravity manipulation cores pulsed with quiet power. One officer reviewed data from the Imperial retreat. "They will not cross again," she said. A senior commander nodded. "They have learned." On the main display, hundreds of similar platforms appeared across the galaxy, hidden, silent, waiting. The Seventh Armada had not been destroyed by full force. Only a small fraction of human capability had been used. Humanity had spent centuries preparing in isolation, studying physics beyond common limits, building defenses instead of empires. They did not seek conquest. They sought control. Back in Imperial space, the Emperor stared at a star map now marked with faint red boundaries. For the first time in centuries, the Empire adjusted its expansion routes. They would grow, but not toward human space. Because somewhere in the dark, beyond visible stars, a silent force watched patiently. The galaxy had feared the Empire for generations. Now, the Empire feared humanity.